Puddle Lane. Danger! Dragon! Danger! Dragon! Jeremy Mouse was talking to Grandmother Mouse in the big hole under the hollow tree in the magician's garden. It's quite safe in the garden, he said. The dragon's not there. He's chained up to a wall down the lane. He can't hurt us. Don't be too sure of that, said Grandmother Mouse. If you go into the garden, look out for dragons. I will, said Jeremy. Grandmother Mouse said, look out for dragons. Jeremy was right. The little dragon was in Mr. Puffle's garden. Mr. Puffle had chained him up to a wall, but the little dragon was doing his best to get free. He twisted his head around and breathed out fire on a link in the chain. The link grew longer and thinner. The little dragon jerked his head and the chain snapped. The little dragon was free. The little dragon was free. He flew up out of the garden and over the roof of the house. He flew down Puddle Lane. He looked in at a window. He saw Miss Baker. She was baking some cakes. Sarah and Gita were with her. The dragon flew in. He flew onto the table. He didn't breathe fire and he didn't breathe smoke. He looked at Miss Baker and he wept 2 dragon tears. The dragon flew in. He flew onto the table. He looked at Miss Baker. Miss Baker was very kind-hearted. You poor little thing, she said. Your collar is much too tight. That must be why you are weeping. Come here and I'll take it off. Don't take it off, cried Sarah. Don't take it off, cried Gita. It's a dragon, a little dragon. Nonsense, said Miss Baker. There aren't any dragons. And she took off the dragon's collar. Don't take it off, cried Sarah. Don't take it off, cried Gita. It's a dragon, a little dragon. The dragon leapt up into the air. He laughed a dragon laugh. He breathed out fire and he breathed out smoke. He flew down onto the table. He breathed over Miss Baker's cakes, and all in a moment the cakes were burnt up. The little dragon laughed again. He flew out of the window and off into Puddle Lane. The little dragon flew down onto the table. Captain K was in Puddle Lane. Davy was with him. Captain K was very old. He walked with a stick. He was going to market, and Davy was going with him to carry his basket. Captain K was in Puddle Lane. Davy was with him. The little dragon saw Captain K. I'll burn off his whiskers, cried the little dragon. I don't like whiskers. The magician has whiskers. And he flew straight at Captain K. The little dragon saw Captain K. He flew at Captain K. Davy saw the dragon. He swung the basket and hit the little dragon as the dragon flew by. He knocked the dragon sideways. The dragon swung around in the air. He seized Captain K's hat in his claws and flew away with it. It's a dragon, cried Captain K. It's a little dragon. I never saw a dragon before. It's a dragon, cried Captain K. It's a little dragon. The little dragon was very angry. He was very hungry too. He remembered the mice who lived in the hollow tree in the magician's garden. He dropped Captain K's hat in Puddle Lane. He flew up the lane and over the gates into the magician's garden. The little dragon flew up the lane. He flew over the gates and into the garden. The Gruffle was in the magician's garden. The Gruffle was a monster. He was very gruff and grumpy. He could vanish when he wanted to, but he often left his ears showing. He was standing behind one of the bushes. The Gruffle was in the magician's garden. The little dragon saw two red ears sticking up in the air over the top of a bush. The little dragon didn't know what they were, but he thought that they might be good to eat. He was very hungry. He flew at the ears and bit one. The little dragon saw two red ears. He flew at the ears and bit one. There was a roar like thunder, like thunder, and there was the Gruffle. He was very, very angry. He breathed out fire and he breathed out smoke. There was the Gruffle. The Gruffle was so big that the little dragon was frightened. He flew away as fast as he could. He flew up into the air. He flew by the magician's window and onto the roof of the house. The little dragon flew away as fast as he could. He flew by the magician's window. The magician saw him. The magician had been making dragon magic in case the little dragon came back. When he saw the little dragon, the magician picked up a red ball from his table. He went back to the open window. The magician saw the dragon. He picked up a red ball from his table. He went to the window. The little dragon was still on the roof. He looked down into the garden. The Gruffle had vanished. Jeremy Mouse came out of his hole. He looked all around him, but he didn't look up, so he didn't see the dragon. Jeremy Mouse sat down on a rock. The little dragon looked down into the garden. Jeremy Mouse came out of his hole. He sat down on a rock. The little dragon flew down from the roof. He flew straight at Jeremy Mouse. He breathed out fire and he breathed out smoke, and he flew down as straight as an arrow. Jeremy looked up and saw the little dragon, but he was so frightened that he couldn't move. The little dragon flew down from the roof. Jeremy looked up and saw the dragon. The magician leaned out of the window. He threw down the magic ball. The magic ball shone like red fire. It broke over the dragon's head. A cloud of red sparks rained down on the little dragon. The magic ball broke over the little dragon. As soon as the red sparks touched him, the little dragon turned into stone. He fell down to the ground in the garden. Jeremy Mouse turned round and ran back down the hole under the hollow tree. The dragon fell down. Jeremy Mouse ran back down the hole under the tree. The magician went down to the garden. He picked up the dragon and took him back to his room. He put the dragon on a shelf. You stay there, said the magician. You promised not to eat anyone who lived in the garden, and you were going to break your promise. There's one thing you must remember. You should always keep promises, and you should never, never, never break a promise you have made to a magician. Never, never, never break a promise, said the magician.